Hello and welcome to today's video. My name is Saskia and today we will learn about the sentence structure of German sentences. So let's get started. First, let's talk about the basic sentence structure in German. Like English, also German typically follows the subject, verb, object order, also Subjekt, Verb, Objekt. This means that the subject of the sentence usually comes first, followed by the verb, and finally the object we are talking about. So let's make an example. In English, we say, I eat pizza. I, subject, eat, the verb, pizza, the object. In German, it's the same structure, so it becomes Ich esse Pizza, where ich, it's the subject, I, Pizza is the object we are talking about, and esse, to eat, is the verb. Or also, liest das Buch. The sentence structure is just the same as in English. So he, reads or is reading, liest, and das Buch, the book. So the wonderful thing about German sentence structure is that not all German sentences follow this strict order. It's indeed very flexible, so you can rearrange elements for emphasis or to convey different meanings. However, this subject-verb-object structure is the default. Now let's talk a little bit about cases in German sentences. German is known for its noun cases, which indicate the grammatical role of a noun in a sentence. And there are 4 cases in total. So we have the nominative, accusative, dative, and genitive case. And each case has specific endings for articles, adjectives, and sometimes nouns, depending on the gender and the number of the noun. And this is very essential for understanding who is doing the action, who it's being done to, and where it's happening. That is why learning the cases is so important in German. But as soon as you understood the basic rules here, you will be able to form a variety of different sentences and play around with the structure and its flexibility. So it's a very great tool. So for instance, let's have a look at this. It's a bit advanced, so don't worry if you totally get it at first, but let's look at the example. So we have the sentence here, der Hund beißt die Katze, which means the dog bites the cat. So we have the nominative case for der Hund because it's our subject. So the one that's doing something, he is biting here. So der Hund, the dog, is our subject. It's in the beginning. And then we have die Katze, the cat, which is an accusative case here because it's the one being done to, something is being done to the cat. It's getting bitten. So that's why die Katze is an accusative case. Don't worry about being able to recognize this all by now. It's just an example to show you the flexibility of German sentence structure. So if we change it to die Katze beißt der Hund, the dog bites the cat, the meaning is still the same in English. In English, there's no such thing. So in English, the translation is would still be the dog bites the cat, or maybe you could translate it as something like the cat gets bitten by the dog or something similar. But here you can see because the dog stayed in the nominative case, so we didn't change any endings or anything, so it's still the subject. And we can also change it to another place in the sentence, and it's still the subject. So here you can see that the German sentence structure has this default of subject, verb, object, but we can also change it a lot as we pay attention to the grammatical cases. There's one rule that I will tell you already now because it's so important. The verb is always at the second position. So no matter how flexible you want to change the structure of your sentence and play around with your sentences and expressions, always remember when building a main sentence, the verb is at the second position. That's the rule for now. Just remember that rule. On your further German learning experience, it will be helpful. All right, that's just for the flexibility of the sentences. Let's have a look at the modifiers, such as adjectives and adverbs. They play a crucial role in sentence structure for making your sentences more lively and talking more fluently in general. So adjectives are placed before the noun they describe, so between the article and the noun, directly in front of the noun, just like in English. However, keep in mind that in German they must agree in case, gender, and number with the noun they modify. So also here we have to add a specific ending. Don't worry about that now. Just notice that we always have to think about the ending of the adjectives. So here, for example, we have ein großer Tisch, which means a big table, with groß meaning big, and Tisch meaning table, but groß agreeing with Tisch and therefore changing to großer in this example. So we add the ending here. Or also das schöne Buch, which means schön meaning beautiful and das Buch meaning the book. And the book, das Buch, is a neutral noun, so we add an E at the end for the adjective and it becomes das schöne Buch. So schön is beautiful and das schöne Buch because Buch is a neutral noun. So to summarize, German sentence structure often follows the subject-verb-object pattern, uses noun cases for clarity, and allows word order for changes for emphasis. And modifiers like adjectives or adverbs always come in front of the noun they describe. Let's do some exercises so that it gets a little clearer. So here we see some words and we have to put them in the correct word order. So the first one we have is isst du das Brot? So isst derives from the verb essen, which means to eat. Then we have du, which means you. And then we have das Brot, which means the bread. So how would we make a sentence out of this? Yes, perfect. So the structure is like the subject, verb, object. So we get du isst das Brot. So du is the subject, you, then isst the verb to eat, and then das Brot, the object, the bread. So du isst das Brot. Let's have a look at the next example. So we have lesen, which means to read, das Buch, the book, and then we have wir, which means we. So how do we make a sentence out of this? Yes, of course. So the subject, wir, the verb, lesen, and the object, das Buch. So we get wir lesen das Buch. We read the book, or we are reading the book. Wir lesen das Buch. Subject, verb, object. And the last example we have here is a little more complicated because we have also an adjective here. So we have bist, which derives from the verb sein, to be. Then we have du, you, ein Freund, a friend, and gut, which means good. So we have 4 parts which we have to put into a sentence here. So how do we do that? Yes. So first we have the subject, which is du. Then we have the verb, because remember, the verb always comes in second position. Then we have our adjective, which is put directly in front of the noun that modifies. So we have the structure, du bist ein gut Freund. And now we only have to adjust our adjective according to the following noun. This is advanced, so don't worry if you didn't get this right. But Freund is masculine singular, so we add an ER and we get guter Freund. So the correct sentence is du bist ein guter Freund, which means you are a good friend. So du bist ein guter Freund. All right. So with a little bit of practice, you will find that German sentence structure becomes more intuitive and you will be well on your way to becoming a proficient German speaker. So keep learning. Don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way. It's totally normal. And yeah, so that's all for today's video on German sentence structure. I hope you found this explanation helpful. If you have any questions or would like to see more videos on specific topics, please leave a comment down below. And thanks for watching and see you next time. Tschüss!